There is a moment in every conversation where nobody says anything. Sometimes it is the safest thing that happens all day. Sometimes it is the worst thing that has happened in a month. And it is the exact same event. Two people, one room, no words. Silence carries no meaning of its own. It is a container. What is already in the room pours into it and fills the shape, which is why you can sit in silence with one person for an hour and feel held, and sit in silence with another for 9 seconds and feel your whole body start looking for the exit. This is every silence between two people. And how to tell which one you are in? Start with the one everybody recognizes. A conversation has a rhythm. Someone speaks, someone answers, and the handover happens fast. The gap between two people talking is usually a fraction of a second, which is far quicker than the mind can actually assemble a sentence. Most of a reply is built while the other person is still speaking. So when a gap runs past about 4 seconds, it does not read as a pause. It reads as a break in the music. Both people feel it, both people assume they caused it, and both reach for anything at all to fill it. That is why the weather exists as a subject. Nothing has gone wrong in that silence. A rhythm simply dropped a beat, and two nervous systems noticed at the same time. The second silence is the one that is doing something. Withdrawal is one of the oldest moves there is, because it works without a single word that can be quoted back later. Nothing was said. Nothing can be answered. The other person is left arguing with an empty room and slowly becoming the unreasonable one. How much this overlaps with physical pain in the brain is genuinely debated. The popular version of that claim is stronger than the evidence supports. What is not in question is the behavior. Being shut out reliably escalates the person shut out, which is exactly what makes the tactic look justified afterwards. And it is worth saying plainly that not every closed door is a weapon. Some people go quiet because they are flooded and have nothing left to steer with, which is a different thing wearing the same face. The difference is not the silence. It is whether it ever ends on purpose. The third silence is the one you should not interrupt. You ask a real question, and nothing comes back. Not because there is no answer, because there are two, and the person is pricing them. Telling the truth has a cost that gets calculated in advance. How they will look, what it changes, whether you can be trusted with it. That maths takes a few seconds, and a few seconds of nothing is more than most people can sit through. So the question gets rescued. Sorry, forget it, it does not matter. And the answer that was almost assembled comes apart. Most of the honest conversations that never happened were not refused. They were rushed. The fourth silence is the one you are holding right now. A room agrees on something. You do not. And you say nothing. Not out of cowardice, but because the price of being the only voice is instant, and the price of staying quiet arrives later, quietly, in installments. People go along with an obvious error far more often than they expect to, and almost nobody predicts it of themselves in advance. The cost is small every time. It is only ever visible in aggregate. In how far you have drifted from what you actually think, one small silence at a time. Nobody ever asked you to disappear. You were just never once asked to stay. Now the one that changes what all of this means. Somewhere there is a person you can be quiet with. A car journey, a kitchen, a Sunday afternoon. Nothing being said, and no part of you working. That silence is not the absence of connection. It is the proof of it. Talking is effortful. Being understood is what removes the effort. When the body has learned that someone is safe, it stops running the background process that scans for what they are thinking, and what is left over is calm. It is why you can be exhausted around people you like and rested around people you love. And it is the most reliable test there is, because it cannot be performed. You cannot fake needing to say nothing. If you have one person like that, you have the thing the other 9 silences are all measured against. The 6th silence is the one nobody has to be taught. A hospital corridor, a funeral. The minute after news that rearranges a life. Everyone goes quiet, and nobody had to agree to it. Language works by compression. It takes something enormous and hands over a small version of it. Most of the time, that is a bargain. Occasionally, the thing will not compress, and every available sentence is so much smaller than the moment that saying it would be a kind of insult. This is the silence people apologize for, and they should not. "I do not know what to say" is not a failure to help. It is often the most accurate sentence available. Sitting there without fixing it is not doing nothing. It is the whole job. The seventh silence gets misread constantly. Two people, same room, nothing being said, and one of them is quietly building a case out of it. "We used to talk. Something has gone wrong." Usually nothing has. Conversation runs on the same limited fuel as decisions and patience, and by the end of a demanding day, there is very little of it left. What looks like distance is often just depletion, and it is the cheapest of all the silences to misdiagnose. The tell is simple and worth knowing. This one lifts by itself. Give it food, sleep, a weekend, and if it comes back on its own, it was never a message. Not everything quiet is a warning. Some of it is just Tuesday. The eighth silence is a trap built by everyone in the room at once. Somebody says something that lands badly. Nobody responds. And in that gap, every person present reads everyone else's silence as agreement, and quietly concludes that they are the only one uncomfortable. So they say nothing, which becomes the evidence for the next person, and so on around the table until an entire room of people who all disagree has performed unanimous consent. It only takes one voice to collapse it, which is the strange arithmetic of this one. The effort required is almost nothing, and the reason nobody spends it is that everyone is certain they would be alone. The room was never agreeing. It was waiting. The ninth silence is the one you did not notice happening. There was no argument. Nobody was wronged. One of you was slow to reply, and then the other, and each gap gave the next one permission, until the last message sat there for so long that answering it would have needed an explanation neither of you wanted to write. Friendships almost never end. They lapse. And nobody has to choose it, which is precisely why it happens so easily. A decision requires someone to make it, and drift requires only that nobody does. The awkwardness of reappearing after a long silence is almost always smaller than it looks from inside the silence. People are usually just glad. The message was never late. It was just unsent. The 10th silence is the quietest, and it is the only one on this list that nobody is uncomfortable in. Two people in a room, nothing being said, and neither of them noticing. No tension, no effort. No one counting the seconds, because nobody is expecting anything to be said. Every other silence here is loud. Somebody is measuring it, filling it, weaponizing it, waiting it out. This one has stopped registering as an event at all. From the outside, it looks exactly like the fifth one. Two people, comfortable, quiet. The difference is not in the room. It is that one of them is at ease and the other has simply stopped arriving. The opposite of connection was never conflict. It is the silence that has stopped costing anybody anything. 10 silences. The same nothing 10 times over. That is the part worth taking away. None of them sound different. You cannot identify one by how quiet the room is, and every one of them is misread constantly. The tired one mistaken for the dead one, the deciding one rushed into nothing, the safe one never noticed at all, because the safe one is the only silence that does not ask anything of you. So the question is, never why are they not talking? It is what the quiet is being asked to hold. Is anybody waiting? Is anybody counting? Is anybody about to say the true thing if given 4 more seconds than feels comfortable? And it is worth knowing which one you are in with the people who matter, because the good one and the last one look identical from across the room. You do not need to fill every silence. You only need to know what is in it.